Hello, welcome to the Grok Talk on Service Account Security Tools and Tricks, presented by me, Patrick Hynds, Microsoft Regional Director for Boston, and also the CTO for a company called Critical Sites, a Microsoft Gold partner and solution provider specializing in security and security audits. So, first let's talk about the problem. Service accounts on Windows are a very wonderful thing. They help us with lots of very difficult tasks like backups and antivirus and Exchange and other systems that have to run without an attended user. They have their own credentials, and that gives us a lot of power because somebody doesn't have to be logged in for them to operate. The problem is they typically have to have administrator access. Often, members of the domain admins group as well, and they're known to the network administrators. Now, while that doesn't sound like a big deal on the surface, we found over and over again that administrators leave the company, and of course, they're very, very quickly, their accounts are shut off, but the service accounts which they set the passwords for are still set to the same passwords 3 years later. Okay? This is no exaggeration. We see it over and over again. Well, this has come much more to light lately because of Sarbanes-Oxley and other things. And the reason for this is because it's very difficult to change these passwords. There are ADSI scripts you can use to run them. You can make it a process, but it's very difficult for companies to get it on to actually make these changes. The risk is that an otherwise secure network can have these gaping holes because they have service accounts that haven't been changed, and they have people who've left the organization, oftentimes not on good terms, that know these passwords. So what could happen about this? What's at risk? Customer lists can be made public because somebody can come in through a back door. Sensitive data can fall into the hands of a competitor. You might have lost financial records, emails, but the biggest exposure is Sarbanes-Oxley and HIPAA. If you're holding medical records, or if you are just a company with stockholders, whether private or public, you have a responsibility to make sure this stuff is secure, and this is the biggest hole. We found every single Sarbanes-Oxley auditor that we've talked to has said that they want the administrator accounts that are service accounts to be known by no one, which causes a really big problem because we really can't shoot all the administrators afterwards, even though some people would like us to. I've got some best practice for you to start with, and then I'm going to talk to you about a utility that we've been developing that we think will solve this problem. First thing you want to do, and this is a contentious actual advice, is you want to rename the administrator account. A lot of security experts will tell you that this really doesn't do that much because a lot of administrators, high-end hackers, can go in and attack an account using the 𝘍𝑠ID. The problem with that is they don't usually start there. So renaming the administrator account is a good practice. But I want you to rename the administrator account to a name that matches your naming convention in the company using some fictitious person, probably somebody you went to high school with that's just too dumb for you to ever hire. Okay? So once you've done that, you need to then create a new account called administrator. You want to add another group and make it a member of that group. Okay, now you have a honeypot on your network called administrator. You want to give it a hellacious password. I'm talking 127 characters, upper, lowercase. Just copy text from your favorite book and paste it in. You don't have to remember it because you'll never log in as them. And then audit every aspect of that account. Anybody who tries to log on as administrator on this network or on this machine is a hacker. So now you have an early warning system. That's probably the single best thing you can do to help you with service accounts. Now, I've said the administrator account, but this also applies to service accounts. Any service account you have shouldn't be identifiable by me looking through the list of accounts. Because there's a lot of hacks that allow me to get the list of accounts. If I can identify a service account or administrator, well, I know which one I'm going to spend all my time hacking. So we want to abstract it. Now, security through obscurity is not the best policy, but it's a great second layer defense. Okay? The military uses it all the time. When I was an infantry officer, we used as much distraction and abstraction as we could. You also need to establish a password policy about reuse. Now, I'm not talking about the kind of policy where you check a couple of boxes in Active Directory. I'm talking about going out and changing your handbook, the one that every employee signs that says, you know, I will not chew gum, I will not smoke, I will not do whatever on company property. I won't use the computer for inappropriate things. And you want to add to that policy the fact that the password and username combination in use on your network belongs to the company and cannot be used anywhere else under pain of termination. Now, it's hard to enforce, but it gets the message across. Why would you do this? Well, if I have somebody, maybe an admin or some clerical staff that goes to mycornerhardwarestore.com and registers to win a hammer, okay, and they fill in their username and password, I wonder what they'll pick. they'll typically pick the username and password they logged in with just earlier today. And they don't really have an email account they check every day, and they really want this hammer. So they're going to use the company email. Now, the hacker that owns this site, or their nephew, is going to now have a username and password and a domain name in which to go after. Perfect combination. So you need to add these very simple tasks. The next thing is limit your password exposure with utilities or follow very faithfully procedures. Now, my experience as an auditor is no one follows procedures faithfully, especially when it comes to network security. So we're going to look at a utility. Service account control is a utility that's about to come out that takes one aspect of network administration and tries to solve it from a Sarbanes-Oxley from a security point of view. The features include it manages service accounts and passwords across distributed systems. There's a lot of utilities that already do that. Okay? It changes service account passwords to randomly generated passwords. This means that the administrators don't have a backdoor account because they don't know the password. No one knows the password, and it meets the auditor's requirement. This is the only product we've ever seen that does this, and it's the reason we wrote it. It can also do other features such as changing the account startup settings and adding servers that can be managed on whole, which is a management feature. But the key point there is that it can change the passwords and makes that task that's very difficult to do or impossible to do on a manual basis easier to do. The benefits of this is you get fully secure service accounts. You administer the distributed service accounts that you've already used in a way that doesn't have to make somebody go to every server and physically touch them, and you conceal the account passwords so that they can't be used as backdoors from the administrators. All right. I'm going to show you this product real quick. I should have done that. This is a quick look at the service account controller for Windows. It's not released yet. It's just coming out. It features a security index, which currently, since I'm running in a single server mode and I've got it locked down pretty well, I've got no rating of risk. If I had a distributed network, I added 5 or 6 computers. One of the things that the risk index keys on is when machines running the same services are out of sync. Okay, the degree that they're out of sync to, and which services are running. Those kinds of things it will key onto, and I'll get a risk rating somewhere in the neighborhood of 0.0 up to 9.9. And it'll also tell me the trend, whether the things I'm doing are helpful or hurtful to what I'm trying to do. The system runs like a wizard. If I want to pick the alerter service on my server, Sparta, I can even pick a number of systems, hundreds, dozens, whatever I choose. I click Next. I can change how it's logged in. Maybe I can pick an account. When I go in and pick an account, it will slow down a little bit because we're running on VPC. I choose my security, and I want to pick, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to pick an account that's in there. We'll pick the P. Hynds account because it's one I trust. Now, as I go through, I can change how it starts up, whether it's disabled or not. I can also select it to randomly generate a password for this account and change it in both the services that I've selected and in the accounts database. And it has a recovery feature. So if things go badly when I'm trying to change 1,000 servers, it knows what to do and how to put it back. I don't think I'll generate a random password. I think I'll just select a system account. And as I go forward, it will, if I type in my password, hopefully I typed that in correctly. Okay, warning it gave me a problem there. It detects things like bad passwords. It detects when you do something that's not going to help. So that's Service Account Controller for Windows. A couple of other things I wanted to bring up is security is a war. You can't fight fair. They're not fighting fair. They're using internal information. They're using every exploit they can find. Okay? It's no longer a part-time job. You can't just take the person who does your backups occasionally and have them be your system administrator for security or your CSO. You have to make it more of a core feature. If you make it part of every part of your operations, you'll find that you'll do better and you're much more survivable. We have some white papers on this product and other security issues. If you go to criticalsites.com/serviceaccount, ACCT, and hopefully this has been helpful and you can secure your networks now. Thank you. See you later. That's it. Thanks.